The Brown family was also one of the December 2008 Touched by Angel families. Their son Stephen passed away in September of 2008 after a long illness. They hoped the donations and benefit would help them pay his funeral expenses.
Stephen passed away in September of 2008. Needless to say, we were very devastated by his passing. We were just looking for any type of assistance we can get with the burial arrangements. It was very expensive to bury your child. The principal of the high school, Mr. Clark, said that he knows of an organization that might help us out if we wanted to give him a call, or could he tell them to give us a call. We got in contact. A gentleman and a lady showed up at the funeral home, and they were all gun-ho trying to tell us about how they're going to help us pay for this and help us with anything that we really wanted. We could probably get help with. And our main goal was to get help and to pay for Stephen's funeral. That's all we wanted. And they were like, yep, we'll be able to do that. And they explained a little bit about it, but they said, here, take these flyers. They already had flyers made at the funeral home. And they said, here, take these and hand them out. Hand them to schools, hand them everywhere you can. The more people that come, the more money you'll make. And it was all about the money right away. The whole point about that was they took us away from our time to be with Stephen in his last moments. When it came down to it, we had the funeral, we had to pay for it, and then they called Stephen a December child, I think is what they called him. And they said they were setting it up, and I kept having to call, what's going on, what's happening? Where's the guy who showed up at the funeral? He never showed up again. He's gone. What happened to him? Oh, he had to leave us. Okay, so who's in charge now? And I had talked to this lady or that lady or this lady, never the same person. When it came down to it, right before the December party, they said, oh, by the way, you're going to be sharing your day with another family. And I said, oh, can we talk to that other family? Did they lose a child too? They said, well, no, their child's alive. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. We're going to have a function with this other family who has a live child, and we're mourning the death of our child, trying to pay for a funeral, and they're trying to pay to keep this person alive. It's like two totally different situations. Anyway, we agreed. We were like, fine, let's just, you know what? By this point, we were like, let's just get this over and done with. Enough is enough. They said that they would keep our name up online so that any more donations that came in, they would be put aside in our name, and then we would get all that money sometime in January. And we're like, great, fine. Well, I kept having to call, said, when are we going to get something to help pay for the funeral? We got to pay the funeral home, you know, the other part of their money. So then they called us and they said, well, we'd like to tell you that we're going to give you some money. But first we had to pay for the food, and then we have to pay for the hall, and we have to pay for the band, and the administrative costs. And I said, okay. And then they said, and what's left you have to split with the other family. Okay. So what do we get? Well, is there anything you'd like to pay? We told you from the beginning we'd like assistance paying for the funeral. Well, is there a bill you'd like to pay? I'm like, you want to pay a mortgage? Well, we could probably pay for, I don't know, an oil bill or an electric bill. And I said, okay, great. So we ended up with about $200, I think, went to us to pay for an oil bill for an $11,000 funeral. While we were at the actual party, they had booths set up with tarot cards and psychic readers and beads and homemade pins and hair stuff that was like homemade, and they were selling it for $10 each, $20 each, which had nothing to do with us. That was just private booths that we weren't getting any proceeds for. It was just something that these people decided to set up so they could sell their products. They ran out of food. The food was frozen pizza or pizza from somewhere, and then they had tins of macaroni and cheese and a deli platter and a cookie tray that they said cost us, we have to split with the other family, $600 each. One of the people bringing in the food, I happened to be talking to him. And I said, what's up with this group? You know anything about this group? She goes, yeah, we cater all the time. They don't pay for nothing. It's free. This food's free. And then that's why I remember the food when she said it cost, we have to split, and our part of it was $600. And this kid's telling me that somebody donates all this food. It was terrible. It was a joke. It was a joke. Even while we were there, the police officer and I were talking and said, what is this all about? There's some lady, there's like 4 or 5 ladies walking around with these pink shirts on. One lady had these big, huge wings.
She was so inappropriately dressed.
They looked like they were like running a brothel. I mean, they were short mini skirts, high-heeled boots come up to their knees, fishnet stockings. And we're here mourning our son, trying to pay for his death. They had a raffle. One raffle ticket, Stephen's doctor was kind enough to come. He fell in love with Stephen. I mean, it was easy to fall in love with Stephen if you see his picture. He came and they raffled off a helmet from Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre, anyway, he bought this helmet for like $300, $300 or more dollars for this helmet. And they were like, yep, you get part of the proceeds from whatever we sell at the auctions. They had baskets that had scratch tickets in them that had, one had this certificate from another girl who passed away a year ago who had a function with this group. Her stuff was inside a basket from a year ago. Sam Callow, I guess she had passed away. Callow. She had passed away and they had a function for her, but her stuff, her name was actually in this basket that they raffled off at our function. There was a number put out. There wasn't they didn't say you will get $3,000 or $1,000. They said whatever we take in, you will get a percentage of. You will get, I think it was 80% of whatever we take in online, whatever we take in for phone calls, for donations, whatever we take in at the door, and then whatever we auction off, you get a percentage of that, and then whatever we take in, you will get a percentage of. Well, then they brought in another family. So now whatever we take in, we split. They said, well, at the door, it's Stephen, or it's this other family. They say it when they pay the ticket, because I was like, how do they know who's who? They said, oh, they'll tell us when they pay you, they're here for Stephen or they're here for the other child. Whatever, you know what? And then we're going on record because we were called and asked if we had dealings with this organization, and we did. And without even saying anything, the person said, how was it? Did you? And right away my first reaction was, it was terrible. It was shady, and it just wasn't right. They didn't want to show me their books. I asked, oh no, you don't worry about it, we'll just take care of you. It was a very hard ordeal, and unfortunately, Touched by Angels made it harder. They were not nice. And I didn't get to meet them really until the day of the party. They were all by phone or that one time at the funeral home. The gentleman who was there was very nice and respectful, and he disappeared. And then all of a sudden we're dealing with all these ladies at the party. I'm like, how do I know who you are? It made it 3 times as hard, and we didn't get anything out of the deal but more terrible memories. But they made it sound like I thought that Touched by Angels touched my heart. No, they didn't.